welcome to Your Questions Answered. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by Phil Chambers from WhatCulture to answer your burning wrestling questions. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts, where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AW Dynamite, AW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Phil Chambers today to answer your burning wrestling questions. Thank you for joining me, as always, Phil.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you to everyone who sent us questions at WhatCulture WWE, at Adam Wilbourn, at Phil My Chambers, of course, on X. Let's start with this from Rico Reds, who says, are you surprised that fans are going along with John Cena's heel turn? I thought they would cheer him no matter what, forcing a Cody heel turn.
Ooh, well, I didn't think they'd cheer him no matter what. I don't think he's quite there at pushing Cody to go yet.
Yeah.
He's always had the let's go Cena sucks chance, and they were always going to continue. And there are still some people that'll be like, yeah, heel Cena, let's go Cena, and like do it ironically. But I kind of enjoy that people are buying into it. I think like the last 5 years, I guess, of John Cena's run, he built up a lot more respect with the sort of hardcore fans than he ever had done before. And I think like the US Open Challenge and stuff like that obviously had a lot to do with it, where he's like not putting over in terms of like getting pinned by younger guys, but like he made big stars of the likes of like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Cesaro and things. Yeah. Like gave them all huge moments. And like all of them, like what a way to enter the main roster. I know they all lost to Cena, but like that was like a memorable way of getting onto the main roster, all of them. And so I think through a lot of that, like he got rid of a lot of the Cena hatred, like the pure venom that people used to have for Cena. So I'm kind of glad that people are going along with it more.
I like the way that they've handled this heel turn as well, because I know elements of the Raw promo were slightly divisive, but I think what they've tried to do is, make it sort of impossible to be like, yeah, he's a heel, but I like him. Like
he's not a cool heel in any way, shape, or form.
Like he's still dressing like the way that he always has. You're never going to cheer for anyone in shorts ever. I thought the way that they sort of utilized the cliches of each and every one of you, and saying basically, even if you still support me, children, die. I hate you.
Yeah, like at the base of it, it is every single heel turn promo that WWE have done for the last 10 years. Like
but only he can get away with that, as Hamper said,
It's more about the way he delivered, and just the sheer fact that it's John Cena adds a whole lot of weight to it. It's something that we never, ever expected to happen, and it's like enjoy it as a thing, go along with it, and that's the fun part of wrestling.
I've said this for months now, and I've repeated it numerous times on the podcast, like from the build to the Royal Rumble through the build to Elimination Chamber. I was like, look, for me, WrestleMania 41 has to be Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. And here I am now in March going, nope, this was 100% the right call. I love CM Punk. I would love my first match that I ever get to see CM Punk live be him in the main event of WrestleMania fighting for a world title. Right, that's not happening now. He may still be in the main event of WrestleMania. That is to be seen, especially if Jey Uso keeps putting in those sorts of performances. But, this is like, I know there's accusations of like, well, remember when someone else would come, Punk's complaints, when someone else would come back in and be like, I know, but I'm going to be doing this at WrestleMania. It's slightly different with Cena, especially with it being his last year. Yeah. This is the only time you can do it. This is the only time you can do it. And had it been, like there was talk obviously about Cena turning heel in the main event of WrestleMania, whilst that would have been like earth-shattering, I agree, I much prefer this to be able to enjoy it or speculate as where we go next and what's going to happen the next time they're under the same roof, for example. And I just think it's the biggest match they can do.
Yeah.
And Punk can wait.
He definitely can wait. It's as well like doing the heel turn now makes all of the promo battles between him and Cody leading up to WrestleMania so much more interesting, because it's like face Cena versus face Cody. Like they would have been fine promo things, obviously, but it would have been John Cena shtick that we've seen like a million times before because he's been going forever.
It's fine speech.
But this just adds that little layer of intrigue onto everything now leading up to WrestleMania. And like doing it at WrestleMania, just everybody just would have compared it to Rock and Austin. which would have like diminished what it was.
Yeah.
Like just having it as its own thing, standing on its own 2 feet, sort of.
Yeah.
Like just this is the Cena heel turn. Let's just go with this now.
Can't deny it's not garnered attention.
Everything more interesting. And yeah, the only way you can have Cena. It's the thing with his final year thing. It was always really odd that it wasn't going to end at a WrestleMania. Like he didn't say he was going to go WrestleMania to WrestleMania. He said it was 2025 was the end of it. So whatever that pay-per-view in December is, that there's just going to call John Cena Geddon or something.
Yeah, that'll be, isn't it? I was thinking that because I was like, TL Cena? Because it has to be his thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can build the whole thing around.
You can't end on Survivor Series in 2025.
You've got to do a big deal for that last show. So it's just, you had to do something big for his last WrestleMania. And
Still
this is about the biggest thing you can possibly do.
Still turning face before the end of the year.
Surely at some point you're not going to get Cena in his last match as a heel.
Boo! Thanks for 25 years.
Get out! Na, 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 na.
With regards to WrestleMania, I was intrigued by this question, and you don't necessarily have to agree with it, because I don't think I do, but TTV Mike III says, these WrestleMania matches are pretty much what we've wanted. Why do you think the builds have been so bad? Do you think they've been? I don't think they've been that bad, to be honest. But what do you think of it?
It's been quite good this year so far. I've kind of enjoyed it. I think they are at a point with WrestleMania where they're not using matches to sell tickets anymore.
Yes.
Like WrestleMania is sold a ludicrous amount of tickets before anyone knew the John Cena heel turn. Like,
yes,
you're selling it off the fact that it's WrestleMania and off the fact that WWE is hot right now.
You could probably sell next year's WrestleMania,
probably,
couldn't you? Nothing. So like Glastonbury, basically.
Yeah, they've got to that point where it almost doesn't matter, which means they don't have to announce all the matches with like loads of time ahead. And I think that's the problem with like that I'm seeing with most people with this one is that there's been so many unknowns going into WrestleMania. Like we're only like just now starting to figure out what the matches could be. Like the Punk Roman Seth thing, like nobody really knew what it was going to be. There was like speculation of the triple threat and stuff, but like nobody really knew what it was. And there were so many people with question marks next to their names, like in the run-up to Elimination Chamber especially. So I think maybe that has felt like they're not going anywhere with it, even though they like definitely are. They're just taking more time to get to the point with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a bad WrestleMania, but I think people have had the knives out for it. And then not to do the classic sort of Wilbourn let it play out thing. I think genuinely, I know that has been my go-to for many things that I'm like, oh, I know it's crap now, but give it a chance. I genuinely think they have earned that right in recent years. You look at, and granted it was a pivot, but you look at The Rock coming in last year, for example, or, whatever. Cody losing, perfect example. I still think it would have been incredible had he done it at 39. It wouldn't have changed anything, just thought it was just chaos. But I think they've earned that right now of like, okay, what Jey Uso's just won the Royal Rumble, and yes, disregarding the recent appearance on Monday Night Raw, I think it's been fully justified. I think, I was watching it there going, well, I guess Cena's winning this when they're down to the final 3 or whatever, and we were all shocked by it. And I just think it's not been predictable in terms of elements. Has been like, I guarantee some matches we could have said in November, December, January, probably going to get Bianca versus Io, hopefully, or Bianca and Rhea and Io in a sort of similar conversation, or the Naomi Jade thing is a perfect example that's finally come together. It's just, like you say, they've been indulged, I think, more so this year than many other years in not allowing you to just go, oh, right, well, it's obviously going to be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Yeah. And I know that in November or whatever. Yeah. Like, you could speculate, obviously, but
there's definitely work to be done in places. Like, I'm glad they started adding more stuff to Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, because that was one that was just like there with no real story, but they've started to heat it up on SmackDown a little bit.
We don't often get to talk about SmackDown because of the way that our weeks work. I'll tell you what I really liked this past week is the work they put into Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Because, yes, you can just have them twat each other and go, I'm big, you're big, we'll have a 10-minute big man match at WrestleMania. Yeah. There might be quite a few of them, especially over WrestleMania weekend. But the work they put in of, like, tying it all together of, yes, Drew has had this, like, long feud with CM Punk, for example, that just, like, completely consumed him. And he's had it with numerous different people. But then to be able to pull it out and go, actually, who benefited from all of these different things? It's you, Damian Priest. Yeah. It's not just this like token match that we've gone, God, what's Drew going to do this year? And Priest has dropped the world title, and now what are we doing with him? It does seem to have kind of come together for them.
And as much as that might have just been a happy little accident that they stumbled upon that, like at least they have put the time into thinking about, well, what justifies this?
Yeah, and the way they've changed things and stuff, like even to include NXT, like this week it looks like, if I was going to put my money on it, they're not just doing Trick Williams and Obafemi, it's Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Javon Evans, which is a brilliant addition to make that a triple threat. And I know people are like,
you have to bring it back to NXT,
threats.
Don't you?
Always. It's the best. But like you look at Raw this week and people are going, oh God, you can have loads of multi-man matches. Right now, I don't think there's any multi-man matches announced outside of like the triple threats for titles and stuff.
Yeah.
And now it might be Penta versus Bron Breakker.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello. That's the thing. And it's, well, like we've got to remember that WrestleMania isn't in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, they've still got a month before WrestleMania. So they've still got the time to build to these things. Like, they don't have to rush everything because it's much later in the month. They've got that little bit of flexibility, that little bit of extra time where they can actually figure out ways of telling stories about every single match. And hopefully they do that. And like some don't just get forgotten about. But like even like it's not as sort of not as much time put into it story-wise. But like the tag team scene and stuff, like they're trying to add layers within that to make whatever it is that's it's gonna be at Mania a bit more interesting, like the Street Profits and DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. Like if that ends up being a big multi-man match, it's a big multi-man match, but it'll be fun and it'll
loads
be like
of stories. The
logical.
monster, I've been very rude here. I haven't acknowledged our T-shirts, to be perfectly honest. I'm wearing a T-shirt promoting the brilliant WhatCulture Wrestling World Tour, but I also have to acknowledge your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
Mick Foley, obviously.
A Mick Foley T-shirt. And Steve Faso says, what is Phil Chambers' Mount Rushmore of Mick Foley matches?
You were going to say Mount Rushmore of Mick Foley's then. It'd be a real easy answer, guy. Mount Rushmore of Mick Foley matches. Number one with a bullet is Triple H at the Royal Rumble 2000.
Jack,
my favorite match of all time. If I've never spoken about this before, I definitely have. It's amazing, and it's the best. Number two.
Perfect time for sort of all of us in terms of getting into wrestling, isn't it, that match?
Yeah.
They're doing what?
It's good. And yeah, he made Triple H, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Yep.
Then we have to get King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, in there. It's obviously not the greatest match in the world, but it's a goddamn spectacle and probably the most replayed thing in wrestling history. So got to get that in there. Versus the other ones, it's harder.
Were you the right age to see him win the world title? Like,
no,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, I wasn't watching like weekly Raw.
Yeah.
I didn't have a way of doing it. I was watching wrestling, but not like at the time. So when I found out about it, I was like, "This is the best thing in the world." But yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, just a little bit before my time. But the other ones. See, now I'm torn because it's either the Shawn Michaels match at Bad Blood in your house in '96 is absolutely amazing. But then there's also the Randy Orton match.
Yeah, I really like that.
Really good. The Edge match at WrestleMania, finally getting his WrestleMania moment. It's got to be up there. Some of the Vader matches in WCW are brutal. I will go with Edge at WrestleMania. Yeah. Just because of what it meant and the things around it. Like the finally getting his spot in WrestleMania. He's getting out of it. And Shawn Michaels at the In Your House.
Yeah.
I'll go with that one. Sorry, Randy. You slip off.
Well, you can probably get into it more in this question from Johnny Peter. Johnny says, I can probably guess Phil's answer, but does modern WWE exist without Mick Foley? And how important is he to making many of their cornerstone stars that you work with? And does that make him more influential than The Rock or Steve Austin? He was the guy, wasn't he?
It's going a long way to say he's more influential than The Rock and Steve Austin. However, he has definitely helped get The Rock over.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Rock's The Rock. He probably would have got over without him. I'm not going to say he's, like, integral to The Rock wouldn't exist if he wasn't for Mick Foley.
You'll not hear any arguments about the Triple H thing, though, from me.
But he was the guy who got the personality out of The Rock. Yeah. That was what everybody latched onto when he went mega, mega, mega babyface. Like, without Mick Foley pushing for that side of him, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe he would have stayed as heel Rock. It still would have been amazing, but you never know what like things might have happened if you didn't get the sort of Rock and Sock stuff and basically force The Rock to show some like human emotion and stuff. So he definitely got the best out of The Rock there. He worked with Austin a lot as Dude Love, but you're not going to say that that's Austin's best work ever. It was really good fun, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think anyone can argue that he put Triple H over, and in a time when WWE desperately needed a next top star, because The Rock was leaving, Stone Cold was obviously out. Like, there was a lot of speculation and like wondering about who was going to be the guy to lead WWE into this next era. And Mick Foley went goddamn out of his way for like 3 months to put Triple H over as much as humanly possible. And made him a massive star off the back of it. So I think, and like not just in terms of putting people over, he did the same for Edge, did the same for Randy Orton at the beginnings of their kind of solo runs. Both put them in big matches where they got a chance to shine as themselves, got the best out of them promo-wise. He always gets the best out of everyone promo-wise, but also showed a different side to both of those characters. You'd probably seen it a little bit more from Edge because of the TLC stuff and things like that, but Randy Orton, especially at the time, had never done anything like that and showed a very different side to Randy Orton that ultimately led towards that kind of legend killery kind of...
I can't remember I was kind of in and out of wrestling back then, but my memories, aside from when he obviously went with Taker as well.
Yeah.
I know he probably
Randy Orton had all the people in the world.
I know he probably beat your Sergeant Slaughters and your people like that, but I have no recollection of that. But I would distinctly remember him gozzing in Mick's face and then having that awesome match with him.
Absolutely brilliant. So in terms of, like, he's done more than any top star ever, probably, to get other people over.
Yeah.
But in terms of just promo style at the time, like early Mankind, not so much, but when he started to put the white shirt on and get the sock out and things like that, was a huge cornerstone of what the Attitude Era was in terms of promo style. And that was all from Cactus Jack ECW promos, like a lot of that kind of stuff. So he was definitely like a trailblazer in terms of promos. And obviously in ring, he brought hardcore to WWE. He was the first person sort of within WWE that they shone a light on that side of wrestling. Obviously, he didn't invent that side of wrestling. It was there long before, but he certainly popularized it within WWE.
And look where
and look where the industry is now. So,
and Mox has got a spike sticking out of his back.
Exactly, yeah. Here we are. Moxley's doing the same shtick. So yeah, I don't think you can understate his impact on wrestling in general.
With that in mind, obviously, I sense that being a fan of Mick and watching Mick and what have you, maybe influence your decisions to get into wrestling.
I did once jump off my garage onto a bunch of mattresses.
How's that?
It wasn't that great. I didn't do it again.
Well,
didn't even film it. What was I thinking?
Yeah, that's the...
Imagine having that footage now.
One way or another, yeah.
Me doing the Dude Love jump off a
garage.
We'd
put it in every video you're in, wouldn't we? That'd be the beginning of the clips. Of another former wrestler has asked you, a former wrestler. This is the arse formerly known as Jimmy Blade. Lovely to hear from you as always, Jim. When you trained, what was your least favorite part and why did you stop?
I stopped for the most pathetic reason ever and showed that my heart was never in it. In terms of actually, I moved house and I was a little bit further away from the wrestling school where I was. And then I could have just got a train and gone to wrestle.
Yeah, you hear like Roxanne Perez now, like, I'm going to travel 6 hours back to school and 6 hours back.
All these people in America that like driving for ages. Like I've never been able to drive, so like I'm not at that. But I could have just got a train and put a little bit of effort in.
Yeah,
I wasn't like that bothered, so that was kind of pathetic as to why. But my least favorite thing about it, I was always terrified of promo class things. Just because I was never that like confident with that side of things until randomly came up with Hobo Joe one day and popped the entire room and I was like, okay, I'll just be Hobo Joe.
So was that just I don't know, I'm going to be a vagrant?
Yeah, there was a promo class that we were doing, Future Shock Wrestling, where basically there was one guy, I can't remember his name, Chris something, can't remember. His gimmick was that he was like, he played tennis and was rich. No, I don't know.
Right.
That was basically the gimmick.
It's very sort of cookie cutter stuff early days.
It's one of those things where like he cuts a promo and then someone had to cut a promo back to him because he was super comfortable doing it. It was quite funny and good. And then it was like where you're going down the line and you're kind of waiting for your turn and you're listening to everyone else do it and you're just getting more and more nervous and not having a goddamn clue. It's like the first promo I'd ever cut in front of people and things. So I didn't really know what I was doing. And just when it's getting down the line, you're coming up, and I couldn't think of anything. So it's just, what's the opposite of a rich person? A homeless person, obviously. And so I came up with Hobo Joe just because it rhymed, and I don't know, that was about it. And then I came up with the Big Issue line because I'm Hobo Joe and I've got a big issue with you. And if
great.
You don't know, in the UK, the Big Issue is a magazine that helps homeless people.
Yeah.
Charity. And then that was that. And then I was Hobo Joe.
I've obviously
no getting out of it.
I've never, as we've mentioned on numerous occasions, we talk a lot about wrestling. I've never done anything close to it in my life. What's like week one? Is it running the ropes? Is it just
bumps,
squat drills? Yeah,
just bumps, nothing but bumps. Not even in the ring. It was like bumps on the mats outside, so it was even harder.
The old just
throwing yourself on the floor, basically. Yeah, which was never like some
that'd
people
be my problem.
Some people have a massive mental block about it because you're literally just throwing yourself on the floor, and it's like, why am I doing this? Your body, like everything in your body is telling you to stop, but you're like doing it anyway. But I never had that mental block for some reason. So
I can do that, mate.
Mainly doing like flip bumps and things. Like, this is fun. Let's do wrestling. It hurts, but like wrestling.
I definitely think I'd be the polar opposite of you. I'd be like, when are we doing promo class? I like doing that bit.
Oh, that bit sucked.
Doing different characters and like slagging off people, things like that. I can't do the flip bumps.
Can't do any bumps. Can't run the ropes. My other least favorite thing was getting kicked in the head because I timed learning how to take kicks very, very wrong and did not get any kind of protection in the way and just got kicked right in the head. That was the worst thing that happened. It really hurt.
And in that scenario, they just go, do it again? Or
they gave me a chance to recover, obviously. It wasn't like, get down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much, you've just got to do it again and it's just getting the timing right. But I was much like, it was like later. It wasn't just like, kicking, like, I missed that. God damn it.
But still a bit late, yeah. Let's get through some more questions. I've got a fun little game to play in a while as well. Oh, I like this one from Andrew Milligan. What is your favorite thing to have happened on a wrestling show whilst you've been doing a live stream watch along? Ooh. We've had a few together, haven't we?
There have been a few good ones. We had COVID WrestleMania, which was just the bloody Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, that was, when we do these live shows, it's a bit easier when we're in person, I think, because you can't just let it sort of breathe a little bit and think, well, I don't think they're going to demonetize us because you can slightly hear it in the background. Yeah. I always found it weird on the like, you're watching it here, but you've got your laptop on your little platform here and you're talking. Sorry, you go. What do you think about it? Oh, God.
Or if your streams aren't perfectly lined up and then one person pops and then the next person pops.
Oh, I guess they've won the Rumble then. But yeah, I distinctly remember us just going, well, I guess
just had nothing.
Bray Wyatt beat John Cena?
It was so bizarre. But we remember was it us for the Money in the Bank.
I was going to say we did Otis as well, didn't we? Going Otis is just because Asuka wins first, correct? Yeah. And then we were like, is it AJ or whatever?
You had Rey Mysterio being thrown off the roof and things.
I think we just watched two people die. And Otis is going to be a world champion.
So bizarre. My favorite things with the live stream, because obviously it's super late when we're doing it. Yeah. Like the shows are starting at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. So like you start to flag a little bit because it's getting like to 4 a.m. or whatever. But then something will happen and then that like gets rid of all tiredness and you're straight back in. So like the Firefly Funhouse was quite late on in the show and that was like what the hell just happened? I'm like fully back in because of just how weird it was. But like Brock Lesnar and the tractor thing with Roman Reigns, that's like, what is going on? Like something just so out of nowhere that's just really entertaining that pulls you back in.
And I will always, it's not a highlight, so don't get too upset with me here, but I will always remember Molly Holly in the Rumble. Me and you like, it's Phil's thing. This is like, it's like Scotty Too Hotty came out or something. Yeah. And then Nikki ASH, wasn't it?
Never forgive, never forget.
Drops her and we're like, I will hate you forever.
Nia Jax in the Royal Rumble as well.
Yeah. Yes. That was like old Office, isn't it? Just like, it was just like peak. It's guys, it's Randy Orton. And they were like, you RKO her and we're square. And it's like Dolph and Rey Mysterio getting involved. And we're like, maybe everything's going to be all right.
It's all right.
Was that also the one where we had to gimmick not knowing about going to WrestleMania, Nicholas, if you remember?
Maybe, yeah, it would have been, because it would have been the last one we did in the office.
We had to do. I think we can reveal this now. Obviously, there's a lot of planning involved. Like, you have to say, Phil, just double checking. I know it's WrestleMania. I know we're all wrestling fans. We know when it is, but just checking you're all right to go to America for a week. Especially because like the Dudley boys, I think at that point had kids and stuff, and we had to be like, whoa, we're going to WrestleMania. I wonder why you wanted my passport details 6 weeks ago.
Also, I mean, if we were really doing it for real, I would be going and none of you would be going.
Yes.
Because I won. And even if it said everyone, I would have told you it was just me. And I would have sold your tickets and I would have used that money to enjoy myself in New York City.
Interesting story that's come out over the last few days. In fact, by the time this goes out, it may have already been sorted. But Jamie says, hello, guys. How would you deal with the Sting Hall of Fame situation with Lex Luger? It looks like a decision that TK can't win either way. It does feel like something, and I've no dog in this fight or whatever, does feel like something if he says yes, WWE going to be like, WWE legend, Sting, here he is.
Yeah, they've kind of got no say over how they present it on the day. I don't think there's a world where Tony Khan says no to this.
No.
Like, he's done...
What's the worst that they can do? Probably have one more match, I suppose.
Yeah,
well, you're Sting, one more match?
Tony's done plenty of stuff like this for legends and stuff in the past. So, yeah, I don't think there's a world where Tony Khan says no to this, especially, like, it's Lex Luger as well. Like, there's not a chance. No. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think it's just a lovely gesture. I think, yes, there's these... there's a funny thing recently, of course, with, like, we're looking at Forbidden Door, obviously, end of August. No All In this year, unfortunately, but nevertheless, Forbidden Door. I think it's like the 24th of August off the top of my head. WWE like, road to Clash of Paris. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 26th. We're all over Europe.
Want to see some wrestling? We're everywhere.
I get that, but I think with all the pettiness between both companies, I think both of them can sit there and say, like, it's Lex Luger who's learning to walk again with the help of DDP.
Yeah.
And his, as you said on the news when we talked about this, his friend Sting, who just happens to be, in another promotion under some sort of Legends deal. He's not working for him. He's not like he's working the big match at All In, for example.
If this was like WWE asking for Sting for a promo to help them build a match for WrestleMania or something, it would be a very different thing. But this is Lex Luger going into the Hall of Fame. And yeah, there's no way Tony Khan does anything to stop that happening, I don't think.
Haz says, what do you guys think is the best age for a wrestler to retire?
Best age for a wrestler. A nice, finely aged wrestler.
How old was Sting? Hang on, let's have a look. How old's the Stinger?
Well, that's the thing. People like Sting are swinging it.
66.
Like, that's ridiculous.
It's his birthday today. What?
Hey.
No, it's his birthday yesterday. It's his birthday yesterday, Phil.
Sting.
Definitely not the 20th of March. Oh, that's nice. So he was 65 when he retired.
But like...
Or thereabouts. Revolution, wasn't it? So
yeah. It wasn't that long ago where you would say someone's 66 wrestling, like, why are you doing it? Like, what is this? What are you doing?
Ric Flair's last match.
Exactly, yeah. But then you get people like Sting and you're like, this is great. Yeah, keep on going.
Yeah.
So, like, there is no rules anymore with these things, it seems. I think it depends on the wrestler.
How old's AJ Styles right now?
How old is... I mean, how old is a lot of the WWE wrestlers?
47.
Yeah.
He'll be 48 this year. Like, and you don't look at him and go, oof. Like,
yeah,
I was going to say,
time to retire,
I was going to say 50 or in and around 50 because, like, Cope's still going and he's past 50.
Yeah.
Again, it's a kind of...
I think you're also getting into an era where, like, modern day wrestlers haven't quite abused their bodies as much as wrestlers in the past may have done.
But also, I think they also... And I've got to word this carefully.
Live a healthier lifestyle.
Live a better lifestyle and don't feel the need to work. No, I'm not saying Cope feels the need to do that. Cope's different. But like some of the people and you're like, oh God, you're only still working because unfortunately this business hasn't either provided you for it enough or it's been...
It's like a Darby Allin wrestling till he's 60 is going to be completely different to a Randy Orton wrestling till he's 60.
Yeah. How old's Randy actually now?
They're all getting on a bit.
You're also assuming that any wrestler has ever fully retired, of course.
This is also true. Does retirement even exist
Does
in
it
wrestling?
even exist?
So yeah, I don't think there's a certain age. I think it depends on the wrestler variety. Depends on the grape.
Let's do a speed round of questions. Graham Wright says, how much would you pay to have dinner with John Cena? 25 grand?
25
That's
grand.
what they're charging.
Is that what they're charging?
This WrestleMania.
My word.
Well, I bet a ticket out there for a lot less.
It really is. Come have dinner with us for much cheaper. You got to buy your own dinner, though.
Dinner with heel John Cena as well. He'd be like,
that would be very
snatching
funny.
a steak off your plate or something.
Yeah, what is it? What? I wonder if he stays in character for
Would you
his...
pay to have dinner with Mick Foley?
Probably not. I am stingy, though.
Yeah, me too. I'll just catch him as he's leaving.
I don't know if there's any celebrity in the world I would pay money to have dinner with, just because I am, tight. Have you ever paid anything to see a celebrity?
Anne Louise bought me a ticket. I got a photo with Edge at a Comic-Con. This is about a year or two before I started at WhatCulture.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the only Comic-Con I've been to outside of like work things that we've been sent to. There's a couple of friends of ours were going. We're like, oh yeah, we'll get like the megabus down from Birmingham, go to this Comic-Con. Anne Louise got a photo with Hodor from Game of Thrones. We were just sort of walking around, just looking at stuff. Like half of it is just like the people in costumes. I was most excited about getting a photo with a group of lads who were all dressed as Super Troopers. I was like, I want a photo of that. That'll pop one of my mates. But yeah, she bought me a photo with Adam Copeland. And for me, that opened my eyes of like, Jesus, this is just a production line.
Yeah.
It was just like, walk up. I didn't even like, I was like, I'm just going to say, nice to meet you or whatever. But I was like, you wouldn't have even had a chance to say, really like your match with Mick Foley at WrestleMania where you went through a burning. You'd be like, they'd be like, get on with it, mate.
Yeah.
And it was literally like, smile, click, and then you walk past. And the only way you ever go back is if they're like, you're blinking or whatever in the photo.
Yeah.
That's that. And I'd walk next to people and they'd have like folders of just like 10, 15, I'm here. Da-da-da.
Yeah.
I had that and a photo with Pod from Game of Thrones because it was like a tenner. And he's like a nice guy, and I always thought his character was really funny on Game of Thrones. But like, yeah, I'm tight, so.
Yeah. I've technically paid for a meet and greet with Mick Foley, but that was only because it was like his spoken word tour thing when he first came over to the UK to that, and everybody got a meet and greet kind of included in the ticket. So it's not really the same thing because you're going for the show aspect of it as well as the meet and greet thing. So that's slightly different, I guess. I guess it's also kind of swayed because, through our job, we've been like lucky enough to meet loads of wrestlers over the years, whether it's through Defiant or through trying to get interviews or like things like WrestleCons and things like that.
Funny is when we asked them
that side of it off it.
Asked them for an interview for our channel.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah, 50 quid. I'm like, no. The only one I've ever done that for is
when you got duped. You got played.
Hey, the only good thing is that was works money. I want my money. I'm spending my money on this. And we got it's like I got a funny story out of it. Of just like,
exactly. Yeah,
well, fair's fair. At least I can go back to Phil and say, right, I spent some of the work money on buying his book.
Yeah.
But I got an interview with Bob Backlund. And then I got a 2-minute shill for his book. And then he walked away. And I went, I have just been done.
I will say as well, if you like getting photos with wrestlers, there's nothing against that, obviously.
No. Have you?
But like, also, it's probably like if you want to like support your favorite wrestler, it's probably the best way of supporting your favorite wrestler because like if you're doing it at a WrestleCon or something like that, is all stuff that goes directly to them. It's not like going through a merch company that takes their cut or whatever like that.
So especially like a guy like Simon Miller at the WhatCulture Wrestling World Tour. Right?
Yeah.
You ever done it? You ever got a photo with like a wrestler or anything that's not like through us?
Nah. Never. I cannot stress enough how much I hate queues. Like I've got, and it's gotten worse as I've got older. There are times when it's two people and I'm like, nah, can't be bothered.
Phil, how much are we charging for the meet and greet at our live shows?
Absolutely nothing. What? It's included with the ticket price. WhatCulture.com/tickets. Come meet us and get a photo.
Who wins?
I have had photos with 2 wrestlers in my time at WhatCulture though. Not paid for, but
Scotty Too Hotty.
Yeah.
Molly Holly.
And Molly Holly.
Ah, of course.
The only two, because it always feels
realise you had
weird.
the Molly Holly.
Like,
Oh, you gotta
asking
remember
people for a photo when you're trying to be like professional and stuff feels weird, but
Not for me.
Scotty Too Hotty and Molly Holly straight in there.
That is Adam Wilbourn's
That
brand.
pre-interview as well. I'm getting this photo first before anything
It was
happens.
after the interview.
Okay, fair enough. Ask Matt Cardona next time is the one. Before you go, actually, Matt,
He'd be like, yeah,
one
50
more
quid.
thing.
He's there to make money. Don't know if you know this about Matt Cardona.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to going to WrestleMania again
Yeah.
this year. There's always stories.
Yeah.
We might not be able to tell you. In fact,
If you do get a chance to meet Matt Cardona, it's always worth it because he will give you a good time.
ask us for stories if you're coming to the live show.
Yeah.
Phil means he'll give you good content, is what he means.
Content, yeah.
If you're coming to the live show, there's where we can tell people more stories. It might not be on stage, but off stage. There's always stories we can never tell until it's in person.
Unless you're Simon Miller and you accidentally do it on the live show, and then I have to cut it out afterwards. Bloody Simon, always running his mouth. This guy.
I think I was coming out because I was going to come out immediately after that to do the quiz. This is a Philly live show, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I stood there behind the curtain because you'd said, maybe open a minute. I was like, no worries. I'm stood behind the curtain going, what are you doing? I can hear him going, I probably shouldn't say this. Don't say it this time. Don't say you shouldn't say it, and then don't say it, definitely. Anyway, final.
But you kept the footage though, right?
Oh yeah, I've got the footage. It's not been released yet.
For whenever we need to...
Simon never wrongs me.
Yes.
Whenever we need to leverage Miller.
Yeah.
Who wins in a fight? Samoa Joe, Joe Hendry, Joe Doring, Gypsy Joe, Joe Tessitore, or Hobo Joe?
Ooh, definitely not Hobo Joe. Gypsy Joe.
Okay.
I think he's got the edge. Got the spunk in him.
Right, final question, final thing I want to do here is from King Kalakta. Apologies if I've butchered that, King. You've started a wrestling promotion. Give me your first 4 draft picks, 2 male, 2 female from any promotion. And as a part of that, I will allow you one...
Allow me or force me.
Force on you one wild card from the WWE alumni page, just because I love this game and it's a risky game, as you know, Adam Nicholas, very, very much.
It's got about a 3% hit ratio, Phil.
Yeah. Let's go current wrestlers.
Let's go the alumni first because I want to know what I'm getting.
Okay,
and then
good
I can build
idea.
the rest of my roster off that.
Okay, I am scrolling
Also,
through.
from a time perspective, that's a great idea, Phil. Well done. Thank you for that.
I'm scrolling through the alumni page now. You get...
Stop.
Okay, pick a number between 1 and 8.
4.
Dawn Marie.
Dawn Marie.
You don't have to, you can twist if you...
Good. No, I'm going to stick with Dawn Marie and I'm going to base my entire company off wrestling wedding angles.
Okay.
Who can I make marry Dawn Marie?
So you broke his heart here, Phil, because he wants to do more. You can tell.
Yeah.
I know, I like this.
He's not getting it.
I like this. So, okay, talk me through the rest of your promotion.
The rest of my promotion. I mean, the greatest wrestling wedding in history was AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan. That whole storyline was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just want to have both of them and just redo that because it'd be really fun. So I will.
AJ, okay, so you got AJ Lee, Dawn Marie,
Dawn Marie,
Daniel Bryan. You got 2
Daniel
spots
Bryan.
left,
and
male
then
and female. So you got heel or face Bryan?
Heel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Face AJ Lee,
Heel.
obviously.
Abusive relationship, Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
That's the one we all want.
So you need a heel lady. I suppose Dawn Marie could fill that role.
Yeah.
But you definitely need a male baby face as well.
I am going to go with Chelsea Green.
Great. No
For
notes.
obvious reason. Hot mess. And who's a good babyface male?
Yeah, who's some of your favourites right now?
I mean, Jacob Fatu would be up there for starting a wrestling promotion.
Oh, Bryan Danielson versus Jacob
Yeah, there
Fatu.
it is. Jacob Fatu. That's the one.
I love that.
Also, Jacob Fatu having a wedding is just a hilarious visual.
So Jacob Fatu is what, ring bearer at this wedding?
No, he's getting married to Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, double wedding.
Double
Boom,
wedding.
double wedding.
The first episode is the double wedding, and it's all uphill from there, baby.
Jacob, I do.
Brilliant.
There it is. It writes itself.
So your initial...
And I'm going to name my promotion All Wedding Wrestling.
Oh.
Nailed it.
your initial company will set up, even if you haven't got a TV deal, on YouTube with the title Wrestling Wedding. And after 3 million views, I think the TV sponsors may come coming.
Yeah. I think I've nailed that.
Well, there you have it. Thank you.
If anyone wants to fund my wrestling promotion, get in touch.
Oh.
If you and your wife would like to fund, or you and your husband.
If you would like to get married on my wrestling promotion, send your address on a postcard.
It's weddings interspersed with the odd wrestling match.
Yeah, there's not much
Question,
wrestling. It's
though.
mostly weddings.
Yeah.
Are they wrestling for like who's the boss of the household? Is that what it is?
Oh, like
Could you have like intergender wrestling
situation.
where they wrestle for the trousers of the relationship, basically?
Yes, because I also definitely want to see Jacob Fatu versus Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let us know your thoughts on everything we discussed in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Phil Chambers at
Phil My Chambers, and you can follow Adam Wilbourn at.
I see, you're great. Other guests never do this. At Adam Wilbourn, you can follow our
Yeah,
brilliant.
none of his other guests ever do it.
Other than our brilliant producer, who is also on X at.
It's Adam Nicholas.
Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, this has been your questions answered. My thanks to Phil Chambers. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.